a jab, or taking a jab, jumping into the next piece of praise or feedback or opinion that I received. It came from Auntie Judy in Chicago. Um, I knew this one would mean a lot to you because I think we first met Judy when I was like, well, when did you first meet Judy? No, it was younger than that because I remember Erica also went to Eastlake.
Right. That was when you went there for the fifth grade, didn't you?
No, in fifth grade I was still at Stark. That was Mr. Tabato. I went to Eastlake for fourth grade. I had Mr. Bowden as a teacher and Mr.
Okay.
Boone. So I was
Okay.
9 at that time.
Okay.
So
So
that
then
was 9.
that's when you bought it, and that's when you met at Eastlake, and
Right.
then it just came around full
So
circle.
that's
That's
also
when
when
you
you
came
met
to my
Judy
life.
first?
Yes. Yes, that
Really?
was the first time I seen her, but then I ended up seeing her in church. So when y'all went to Beacon on Jefferson,
Right.
that was like I seen her around. But then also she was dating Kevin. Remember the limo driver?
Yeah, on
She used to
that
come
stayed
to
around the
my
corner
house.
from Auntie Betty.
And once I found out that he was dating Judy, and then she showed up at a party we had the funeral homes gave a party, and
Mm-hmm.
he invited me, and Judy was there, and then he was trying to. I'm like, oh no, I seen that me and Judy we've been rocking ever
Yeah.
since.
All right.
We've been
Yeah, that's
rocking
cool.
ever
That's
since.
cool. So Auntie
Yeah.
Judy said, "I love Tangie's openness. She is who she is. She is transparent and an open book. She will speak her truth and get up in front of many people and testify about her pain, issues, and blessings. As a result, Tangie can find humor in her issues and make you laugh so hard until it hurts. The girl is funny. Mostly, what I love about Tangie is she always seems willing to help her find a connection as well as hope with any of her issues."
Amen. Praise God.
Yeah, so I knew that one would
Praise
be
God,
great.
Judy. Amen.
Absolutely.
Thank you. You know, sometimes when you look at yourself, I'll say this for me. I've always, like you said, just went along with life. I've always been on survival. I didn't have time to process anything, and that's to this day. Being 52 years old, I've never just took time to have to process anything. My life
Yeah.
has been strictly about taking care of my business, doing what I got to do. Like the day your sister had to get up and go to college. That night, I was getting prepared, and I just had to get up when I had to drive miles to Huntsville. And I left work that day and got on the road at 8 that night. But I just always had to do what I had to do by the grace of God, and I thank God for the strength that He gives me.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now we're gonna go a little dark, because I do want people to hear me and your story. We've been talking about a lot. I know we talk about the disrespect, but I don't know. Like I don't even really know how to ask this. What made you be so hard on me?
Wow. Okay. Yeah, let's go there. Because, Rod, men can be so messed up. And I dealt with men that was mama's boys. They wasn't worth nothing. And Lord forgive me. Help me not to cuss. Cause this is for real. Cause this is deep for me.
It's a safe space though. Like if
For
it
real.
does, like
I know.
it just does.
But still, I've dealt with some men that just have done some things that was just out cold.
Yeah.
That I couldn't imagine doing myself to somebody, let alone being a man. Now, one thing I can say about my father, we're gonna go back. My father was a stone alcoholic, okay? But when he wasn't drinking, he was mean in the house. But I never witnessed my father taking my mama through any emotional trauma. Men can take you through emotional trauma with other women and just doing stuff that's just out of pocket. That's just not right.
Yeah.
And so I was hard on you, son, because I wanted you to always be a man. Now, when I look back, I know I can't teach you how to be a man, but I knew I could give you them basics. I knew I could teach you what not to do when it came to a woman. I knew what I could teach you what not to do as a father. I knew that I could teach you to own up to your responsibility. I didn't want you to make a bunch of kids by a bunch of different women. I just didn't want that life for you. I wanted you to be a man.
Yeah.
Now, I don't really know what really when you say a man, but I'm talking about the basic stuff of being a man.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
You know, come on. My daddy may have been an alcoholic, but my daddy was a man. My daddy, I'm telling you, when it came down to my father didn't take my mother. When it came down to my father didn't take my three
Right.
that's
You
here.
can
So
only
I'm
imagine.
quite sure
Yeah.
it's some stuff going on, and even though I don't know it, but
Right.
to be transparent about it, when it came down to my father being responsible, like Danetta say all the time, my father used to walk her to the bus stop before me and her started going to high school together. She said he could come in drunk the night before, but at 6 o'clock in the morning, he's walking me to the bus stop, and he's standing there with me till the bus comes.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know how many
And that's what I said. Like
that?
that was like I stated yesterday. I forever am grateful to you for the things that were zero tolerance. Like I said, if you ever with a woman, she better not ever get out her car and pump her own gas, and you in that vehicle.
In the name of Jesus. In the name of Jesus, she better not.
And sometimes it even irritates me, some of the stuff, because like naturally, like even when I come home, naturally I just drive. I chauffeur y'all around, right?
Yeah.
I'm the same way with Kiana. Like just I can't stand it sometimes because it'd be like she'll never jump in the driver's seat.
Yeah, she's just like your mom.
Never jump in the driver's seat. But that kind of but I thank you for that. I do.
Thank and it's because too. There are some things I may get on men and be hard on men, but I promise you, wherever I am, if there's a man in the group, I'm thankful. Because it's always a blessing to have a man in the group. I don't care what nobody says.
It's some stuff just naturally that you need a man.
When we were in Miami and Fana had her man and Tina's man was there, and I told the man, I'm just thankful that y'all are here. It's just a blessing to have me. And I'm talking about men.
Yeah.
You want me.
You ain't gonna go through something. You won't go through certain things with even just the presence of a man. It don't even have to be like the most strong man or the most, you know what I'm saying, demeaning man, but the presence, it does.
Yes.
It veers some people off. Just the presence of it. They're not gonna try it. Yeah. I understand that. I'm trying.
I'm gonna say to you, I apologize. I don't regret being hard on you. Now I apologize for the way I may have done things. But like I said, you've exceeded my expectations of a man, and I'm gonna tell you why. When it comes to being responsible, you are that guy.
Yeah.
When it comes to trust, I trust you.
Yeah.
You can never say I never trusted you.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
I've always trusted you. Yeah. I trusted you with your baby sister when she was a child. I trust you.
Yeah.
Because I look at you as a man. Yeah. I view you as a man. You have not failed me in the area of being a man. Your brother, even in his broken state, I've watched him struggle to the front door on a walker to make sure I made it in the house.
Yeah, that's true. I've heard those stories.
You got able-bodied people who not gonna do that and call themselves a man.
Yeah.
You know, your bottom half and your male parts that make you that give you male on the birth certificate is not what makes you a man.
Right.
And so, like I said, I may not know everything about a man, but I do know some basic stuff that I just wanted you. If you don't have nothing else, have the basic stuff.
For sure, absolutely. Everything else comes with it.
Right.
And like I said, I don't even hone on it anymore, which is why I'm able to have these conversations with you. And I've told you that plenty of times. It just doesn't affect me in a way because the way I look at it, I'm a product of what I was raised in. And if the product now is everything that I have, everything that I've reaped, what do I really have to be mad about?
But let's talk about, we're not going to talk about tangible things or we're not going to talk about material things. I'm going to talk about your mindset.
Well, no, when I say that, I'm not even talking about materialism. I'm just saying like the fact that, I was able to move multiple times and just continue to exceed. Look, it's one thing being the underdog. You know what I'm saying? I hold on to so much. And sometimes I hold myself back. I'm gonna tell you this. Right now, I'm holding myself back even to this day because I'm afraid to go to school because I dropped out.
Wow. But you're so smart.
I am. That's listen, that is the craziest thing. That is the most mentally challenging thing I've ever faced. Like that right there is my all-in demon, myself. We stand in our own way a lot of times, and like it all comes from fear. And I consider myself not a fearful person, but it, right now it doesn't seem it doesn't seem logical for me to go back to school because I'm like, well, if I dropped out then, part of it was I was bored, part of it was I was, the circumstance, part of it was I didn't feel that I was challenged. And I'm like, yo, if I didn't want to do that in high school, I for damn sure ain't gonna want to do it now, and I gotta pay for it.
You sound like your mama. Everything you just said is me. Evan, from when you started talking about everything you said was me.
Yeah.
I didn't see and I'm not making no money doing this, so
right.
So
right.
You saying, I do, but you in the best place for it. You don't have any children. Yeah. You do have a supportive wife, and you're smart, right? You're very smart. I'm not gonna say I'm not smart and intelligent either. Me, I always found an easy way to do something. I'm gonna tell you about me.
Sure.
That's just me, know. But at the same time, again, I'm a woman. I'm supposed to find, the easy way according to me. I'm not gonna say that's
right. Yeah.
But I'm saying anything too hard for me, I'm just gonna put it to the side, and I'm gonna have to table that at a different time. But who's to say when it's the right time? Absolutely. You just gotta give those things to God when they come in your life, because you sound just like me. Me, an underachiever, when I know I'm smart, because I look at the children that I birthed. My children have great minds, all three of you. Like tonight, she calling me today, she a little fearful. She said, how to use the prayer kit. I said, the instructions are in the inside, but let me pray with you.
That's cool. Yeah,
and so
that's cool.
I'm proud of her, but I know she just needs that little extra push. And some of us do.
We all do. We all do it in one way or another.
Encouraging. But I'll tell you this. When I got my GED, I gave myself the biggest pat on the back. Every time I look at it, I smile like I did that. Because I didn't think that I never was a dummy.
And you know what's crazy? I don't. Like, I think because I expected that of myself. Like when I took the GED, when I took the test to get my GED, it was easy. It was a breeze. Like I'm like, yo, this like this is what it is, and everybody was like freaking out. I remember like all the dudes in my platoon, we were all figuring out like which test booklet you were gonna get, because there was like a green, yellow, and a red, and it's the same way it sounds. Green was easy, yellow was intermediate, red was the most difficult one. I ended up with the yellow one, and I was like, all right, bro, it's been a couple years, since I've been in school. Like, how you think you're gonna do? And I ran through it first time. And I'm not really a person to practice for tests. I'm not. Just like I'm not scripted. I do not practice for tests. I don't practice for interviews typically. I've learned to kind of do it somewhat, but nah. Because when I think about stuff, that's typically when I get off track personally. I overthink it. I end up stuttering. You know what I'm saying? Like, and now those are all things that I love avoiding. But I never did. Maybe at one point I did. Like, oh, I was relieved. But I never put that on the equivalent of me actually getting my high school diploma. And that, for a long time, I struggled with, I didn't make my parents proud because I didn't graduate. You know what I'm saying? The oldest in our household. And that was huge. That was a huge letdown in my own eyes. And I talk to my friends because like my friends are out here, and I just disappeared. As much as I fit in with everybody, nobody knew what I was going through, mentally or physically.
Mm-hmm. We are our own worst enemy, and it's how you think about yourself. Because mine was when I look back, I say, wow, I didn't get to enjoy high school like I should have, like city councils and different things like that.
I said that too.
So that was my only thing about it. That wow, there were things available that I didn't understand, or I just didn't have what I needed. And so
I remember feeling bad around the 10-year reunion,
wow.
in 2018. And I talked to my friend about that after I moved here. I was like, dog, I wanted to go, but I didn't graduate with y'all.
You different than me. I went to mine and partied up. Like,
but that's what they told me though. I felt stupid because they did. They was like, yo, man, we all had fun. Even people that we weren't necessarily clicking with.
Baby, I was
It's
tickled at man.
so you know, it's we get in our own heads and we get in our own way. Cause I know I would have had a blast. You know, I'm like you. I be tickled all day. I shared this meme. I'm gonna end up sharing it on my page, but it was like me and the person sitting next to me because I know I'm funny than a mug. You know what I'm saying? Like the two people in the picture cracking up, but um, that was what it was all about. Now I'm gonna go deeper than I've never went with anybody else. You know this story. We've had to go beyond it, but uh, the final thing that I'm really gonna touch on, as far as where I required healing and where a lot of my disrespect and a lot of my anger came from, uh, was when my brother's brother molested me. I ain't gotta put the person name out there, but this is my story. You know, this is what I'm sharing.
Your brothers. Oh, you talking about on your dad's
Yeah,
side? I was
yeah.
right. Say my son or brother. Okay.
No,
All right. You did. Oh,
my
yeah.
oldest
My own
brother's
brother though
brother.
too. Okay.
You know what I'm
Okay.
saying?
Okay.
It hurt me and I was angry because I felt that we were so sheltered. I had all of these great attributes about myself, but because I wasn't exposed to the world in a way that I understood what was going on with me, when it finally did hit me, it pissed me off. And I remember not being willing or not feeling that I was able to come to you because I always remember you saying like, yo, if somebody ever put their hands on you, let me know. I'll kill a person. You know what I'm saying? For lack of a better term. You know what I'm saying? I go to jail for mine. And, you know, being that age, I never, I knew what it meant to go to jail. I didn't know a lot of stuff, but I knew what it meant to go to jail. And because of the pedestal that I put you on as my mother, not even so much as a pedestal, but the way I valued you, the way I hope all men value their mothers, I would never put you in that position to where it's my feelings or my situation over losing you.
Wow.
And hell, it wasn't until I'm 31 now, I probably first told this story maybe 4 or 5 years ago. You know, and it hurt me because not only did I not only was I lost, but I never voiced it. You know.
Yeah, and then I see where the anger come from. And again, the call yesterday was very good. We touched on so many things because it's amazing that you're saying that the call was about that for most part of the early part of our call. I think our call was like 5+ hours yesterday.
Yeah.
And it was about that yesterday. And I was just telling them, I said, I remember listening to the radio and the girl telling the mother was telling the story about her daughter didn't tell her that the stepfather was molesting her because the daughter didn't want her to go to jail. And my thing was, what I was saying on the line was, we have to be careful what we say.
Yeah.
Because our kids hear it, they hear it a different way. You know, instead of, even though I did that, you know
what
I'm
for sure,
saying?
yeah.
But not realizing the way you would process it. You know, not realizing, and me yesterday being on the line telling people, being a product of sexual abuse, thank God that my violator was not nobody in my family or anything like that. It was a neighbor. How terrible sexual abuse is. It's terrible. And a lot of times people don't know how to deal with it.
Yeah.
So they sweep it under the carpet or they let it go. Like, they probably don't know what it's like to get a family member locked up.
Yeah.
Or different stuff like that. But for a kid to go through it, because it's like, it's what your sister calls, she says, trauma.
It is. I'm glad that she understands that because
it's shameful, and because we don't have enough classes on things like that, or we don't have enough people that talk for real about things that has happened. And I'm a firm believer of, if parents get out of the way, it's just like when children do things. Let's say it's a family member and they molest somebody. Parents are so busy trying to protect the children. My child ain't do that, but you ever give a child a chance to say, I did that.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry.
But you know, I commend you on that because I do remember these words from you coming up. If you ever did something, let me know. I'll ride with you, but I need you to be honest with me.
Yeah.
I always remember that, and that's why when I was going through the stuff that I was doing, like I remember being able to lean on you because I could keep it a buck with you,
Yeah.
and you aren't one of those parents nor one of those women that's just gonna ride with your son because that's your son. When I was wrong, you would let me know that I was wrong.
Oh yeah, and I wasn't gonna raise you to be a molester. So when you say I was
Well, I
hard on
wasn't saying
you,
as far as I was saying like.
no, I know, no, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying I'm going back to when you said I was hard on you.
Yeah.
I was hard on you because I didn't want you to be that person either. You know how I raised y'all.
Yeah. But that made me hard. That made me hard to a point to where that's really why I got as big as I did. If I'm really being honest with you, I vowed to never let another person take advantage of me. Until this day, people don't challenge me.
Yeah.
I don't have to be this big dude that's talking about how many fights I done been in and whatnot.
Yeah.
Because that wasn't me. I ain't never had that ain't. Nah, I done had fights. You know what I'm saying? Like I have my fights from my past, but I ain't never just been nobody that had to fight. My fight was different. My fight wasn't physical. You know what I'm saying? My fight was mental. I had to get over those demons and whatnot that I had to deal with in order to get to where I needed to be to get out of that space. Like that's what my fight was. And for me that was the bigger thing. You know? Like I remember when I did go to juvie, I wasn't scared. Those few days that I was there, I wasn't scared. I was just like, you know what? It is what it is. I tell you what though.
To scare you. It was meant to.
But it was. If it wasn't from you, it was from them.
Yeah.
Because you don't put somebody in the back of a cop car, you know what I'm saying, and take them away somewhere in cuffs with the expectation of it's not gonna damage them. And it did in a good way. The damage that it put is, again, like, I'll never put myself in a position to where this resonates with me directly.
Again, as a young man, as a person, period, going back to what I said about the way my mother raised me, respect will get you killed quicker than anything.
Yeah.
Disrespect.
Absolutely.
My thing was to raise you for you to know about respect, because once the cops get a hold to you, ain't nothing I could do.
For sure.
I was not gonna have no sons in jail. I was not gonna have no pistol packing, running around, pants hanging down sons. I was not gonna have no disrespectful sons. I was not gonna have that, because I feel like being African American, black, whatever we want to call ourselves, you already got enough strikes against you.
Yeah.
And then being a big guy, you got more strikes against you.
Yeah. Automatically.
So it's the way you carry yourself, the way they profile us. Now, not saying none of that is right.
Right. No, I understand.
Not saying any of that is right. But I'm a type of person that let me keep the heat off of me. So if being this way or having this keep the heat off of me, then I like the heat to not be on me. I don't want to walk around an angry black woman. I didn't want to be running to no prison. That's gonna make me angry. I'm gonna be mad when I show up at a prison because I don't want to show up. I don't believe in we about to click the prison pictures. And I'm not saying that that's bad for nobody else.
Right.
But
for me in my situation.
For me and my children, ain't nothing happy about that.
Yeah.
Now, like I said, there are causes that we are willing to go to jail for.
Absolutely.
There are causes that we're willing to die for, but not just to be on some, because now your survival is hitting a liquor store or doing something, snatching somebody's purse or doing something dumb.
Yeah.
And now you locked up. So that's my thing. So when it came down to, Hunt said this yesterday about his mother's best friend. He said she told him, because his mother died when he was 12, she tried to teach you everything she could teach you by the time you was 12. And I think that was for me. My mother died at the age of that I am now. She died the day before her 53rd birthday. I'm 52. She died the day before her 53rd birthday.
I do remember that, yeah. A week before my birthday. Alive. Well, a week and a day before my birthday.
Right. I'm still alive. You get to ask me whatever you want to ask me. You get to know my story. I didn't get to know my mother's.
Not everybody gets that blessing.
Right. I missed all that opportunity on knowing my mother. Like my father, Aunt Liz, she was good to me. That was the only sibling of my dad besides
think that's what upset me when me and Miles both ended up having cancer. That really pissed me off to find out that there was a history behind it and we didn't know of it. Like no one felt compelled to share this, and then to find out my sister had it, then to find out my niece had traits of it. Like nobody thought to share
But I
this.
think they really didn't even know themselves because you only start really noticing when it started really affecting you in a way that it's causing your body to malfunction.
Mm-hmm. But the difference is, and this is where I talk about just being the difference of your generation. That had to resonate with somebody. All the smart people in my daddy family, and ain't nobody think of that. Like, come on. And I understand, like, that's, even though I say, like, don't place expectations on people, I understand. I understand that is placing an expectation of sorts on people. But even now that we know, do you think people are actually sharing that?
No.
That's really my point. So,
you have to be in tune.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And sometimes that's with God. He always give a warning before anything happens. And so that's being in tune. You have to be in tune. And so when I'm talking to my friends, I was telling my friend one time, I said, I just always been on life. And when I say been on life, I'm about life issues. Right. Let's talk about life. But people think that partying and smoking weed and drinking is the life. And it's really not. You only partying and drinking and doing those things to mask everything else that's going on in life.
Right.
So if you never sit down and you process it, it's like we can have family members that die by drinking and all that. They get killed in a DUI and we still drinking.
Right.
You know, things tragically can happen and we still doing those things. Nobody ever changed what is really going on.
Right.
And so when you start to process life for what it really is, setting goals, having expectations of those goals, then you get a better outcome. But if we just keep going through the life, it's like the children of Israel, wandering around the wilderness, in the wilderness for 40 years, when it was really only an 11-day trip.
Right. Hold that thought 1 second, man. All right. No, that's very, very powerful. And I love and I appreciate your transparency. I do want to touch on. I saved this one for last. This one, I'm hoping you remember and you can elaborate on this, because this was very fun and enjoyable reading this. All right. The document sent to me was my little sister Tanjanika. So since we were young, Tanji had a spirit of courage that surpassed anyone I've ever known. She stepped out on her own as a teenager, as a warrior with a DILLIGAF. Do I look like I give a F attitude? Never afraid to step to anyone, headstrong, and when she loves you, she does it with her whole heart. Tanji was always strong-willed and lives her own life on her own terms. No matter what she goes through, she rises repeatedly, never gives up on what she wants, and learns as she grows. Tanji is extremely smart, dedicated, and committed to making sure her family has their heads above water. Tanji never liked anyone getting over on her, and she loves to stay on top of every situation. Tanji was in the dance club in middle school, and she really liked it. My most memorable dance was when she did the African dance with her team. She was a practical joker who sometimes took the joke too far, and she said you can elaborate on some of those things. She said, as tough as she is and ready to fight, she would cry at the drop of a dime watching a Lifetime movie. She always got out of doing chores by staying gone. Therefore, she was not there for the endless cooking sessions with Mom. She is the life of the party. When she comes into the house, everyone had a nickname, and she made it fun to be there. A family gathering is not the same without her. Her love of life is what gets her through. Love my sister. She is awesome. Donetta.
I figured that was Donetta.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, jokes get too far sometimes. Yeah, that
No,
was nice.
well,
Praise
I
God.
never knew that about you though, about the dance club though. What was that?
Oh, yeah. In modern dance when I was in middle school. Yeah.
I mean,
But
how?
then I liked hanging around my friends though too.
I got you. Yeah. So it's one of those. That was dope. That was dope. That's actually where me and my friend Devontae and my friend Jerome that's here. That's where we all started. You know, I was upset. You know, I'm gonna touch on this for just a minute or so. I was upset. Like, I remember getting the offer to go to Miller. What was it? It was Miller or Houston or Whittier, right? It was one. Yeah, it was Miller. It was like two that I had approved that I had applied for, and I think Whittier was the one that I didn't get, and Miller was. But then we end up moving to Southfield.
Oh, it must have been Miller then. Yeah.
Yeah, so Miller was the one that I did get accepted to, and we ended up moving or whatnot. But I remember I was just angry because like I felt, I was leaving the friends that I did have, on Algonquin and whatnot, and just the fact that when we moved away, we didn't do as much like being around family as we did prior. Like people didn't really have. I don't want to say people didn't have access to us, but we moved different. We moved in a different way. Like our household moved in a different way, and that was something that I was always angry about. Like I was like, and then when you hear the stories about people being jealous of us coming up, that's always weird to me because I was never like a boastful kid. Like even today, like I'm not a flex person. When I wear my Cardis and stuff, I wear that for me. I don't care about what the world thinks of it. I may post it. I post it for me though.
Well, I see a different perspective about any of that. I seen a post on Corey Riri daughter page the other day. She said, when my friends brag, I don't get mad. I say, talk your ass, girl. And I just
Yeah, certain people be that way, but I've never. Just my character. I ain't that person.
The thing is this, and I know you wasn't because I didn't raise y'all like that. You gotta. What we start have to realize is when you know who you are, it makes a difference about everything. So one thing I've never been is a hater. I've never been jealous of what nobody had.
Yeah.
If somebody, because first of all, whatever you do to get that, I'm not willing to do it. And I ain't saying something you got to be doing is bad. You could be working 12 hours a day. I'm not willing to work 12 hours a day. So my thing is, I don't have that way of thinking about people. So when we say things, and I'm tired of having to tiptoe around my words to make people feel a certain type of way.
Yeah.
So if I say I moved from the east side of Detroit to Southfield, which was a big sacrifice for me. I went from living in my aunt's house paying $300 in rent to moving to Southfield paying $900 in rent.
Right.
But the move I made was to give my black young sons a better place to grow up.
Yeah.
Nothing was on the east side of Detroit but hoodlums, and the school system was not all that. And come to find out, when I moved you out of Southfield, that wasn't so much better. But it did give you less of the traffic. The stores was not open all night.
Man, everybody be hating on the east side. I don't know what's. I love the east side. That's why when I got grown, I went back to the east side. Cause man, it ain't nothing like.
I live in Taylor.
It's crazy.
I'm always on the east side. Always on the east side. But the east side was not a place for young black men.
Nah. Yeah.
It was not going to
help
that's
straight
you
up.
in your growth.
Yeah.
I didn't have any manpower to help raise you on the east side. So it's different when you grow up on the east side with a father or uncles that are in your life that are helping you navigate through those areas of poverty. I didn't want my sons to have to walk by abandoned houses coming home from school, living in certain kind of areas. So I get a little passionate and loud, y'all, when I talk. When I'm passionate, I get a little loud. And
I told you, everybody know that. Look, I told you, I got pulled in the office a few weeks ago for the same thing.
Somebody would be hollering COVID, all this I'm doing. But anyway. Anyway. So when you say, I want it better, the minute you use the word better, now everybody looking at you like you think you better. No. Now you got to dress the words up.
Yeah.
I want it different.
Yeah.
Me, I knew that I didn't want to bring I seen my neighborhood going down. So I want you to have to grow up like that.
Yeah.
And it wasn't about you being a punk or you being this or you being that, because sometimes we have to fight. But if I could put you in a better environment where there are more people that are trying to strive and survive and do better versus all y'all in the same chicken coop together and ain't nobody doing nothing.
Right.
So that's why, even though I love my friends and I was around my friends before, it took me a long time to bring y'all around places where I was going because they wasn't doing anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
What were we doing? Partying. And I didn't bring y'all around that because it was no place for a kid to be.
You know, and I love the fact that through growth, the upbringing of my younger two siblings were even more positive. And it wasn't to say that what me and you went through was negative, because again, I don't look at it that way. But I love the fact that maybe Miles don't feel this as much now, but he had friends coming up. You know, he had genuine friends that he was rocking with everywhere they went. They was always doing something together, even though he may not have had money in his pocket. Like, he truly had friends. I never really wanted friends because I didn't know when I was gonna be gone again.
Wow.
Like, I've always been a loner. I don't go places now because I'm comfortable being by myself. And I feel that that's okay because it allows me to kind of be an influence over others in a way. Like, be even more of an influence in order to say people like, yo, you ain't always got to do something, bro.
You're a thinker. That was never me. I just made moves. So I had friends everywhere. I'm a talker, so I talk to people everywhere. I've never.
I do now, and I'm comfortable with that being my gift. Yeah, and
I've just never.
I was though. Like, and I used to tell women this all the time. You could like me, I wouldn't know that you like me because I ain't paying attention like that. I'm typically shy.
But the big thing is that I think that as people, we miss the point. Be thankful for the restrictions that God has allowed on your life. Because you probably couldn't be faithful to your wife if you had, different things. Yep. A lot of men they have too many women around, and sometimes us as women, he's your friend, but then you see the great attributes in your friend, but you keep dealing with the knuckleheads now, boom.
Yeah.
So it's like some things we just don't need, and what works for me may never work for you.
Absolutely.
You just have to give God control of your life. Yeah. You have to ask God to orchestrate and govern your life. So be thankful for the restraints, because all friends are not good friends.
And you know what's crazy? Like, when you talk about like giving God the control, a young man, an older gentleman told me this the other day. One other day, it was like a couple weeks ago, before I even started the podcast. But this is what actually made me go ahead and do it. He said, every single person contains faith. Every single person has some form of faith in them, right?
True.
What we lack as people, we lack applying our faith.
Correct.
That was the biggest struggle with getting this ready.
Correct.
Was I looking for followers? Was I looking for subscribers? Was I looking to make money off this immediately? Was I worried about how the general public, the people that watch this, was going to depict me? These were all things that were in my mind. How do you structure content? You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you actually put it out there? How do you do the editing? Right now, I don't do no editing. But I can tell you, every time I post a video, I'm getting better in some type of way. Yes. The fact that I just went through setting this tripod up so that people can still see you on FaceTime, and then still have my camera going to where you can see me in the frame, and it takes a lot to really do that. It does. And I thank God for the people that he's put in my path. The people like Hunt, because Hunt light a fire in me every single time we talk. It's therapeutic in a sense. It's big for me personally because my history, I don't trust men. I don't have men in my corner like that.
Yeah.
And if that's a segment that we end up touching on, that's a segment that we end up touching on. But
that would be one.
I really meant that. You know what I'm saying? But now, what I've learned through applying faith is sometimes focusing on the things that you have control over. Just going for it. Stop worrying about somebody else's approval. and that's why I made that comment as well as I posted the video yesterday. Like, I'm not here for your approval.
That's it.
If that's what comes about from this, that's magical. That's phenomenal. But I'm not here for any man's approval. At the end of the day, I'm talking my talk. I'm spitting my game. I'm being authentic because I want to reach somebody else. I have conversations with young people at my job, and they'd be like, "Yo, you going through your mom being super religious? I went through that, B. I went through that." And this is how I navigated through it. It's not to say that this is the perfect way to navigate through it, but we have to learn to accept people as who they are.
Mm-hmm. But let me elaborate on a little of that for you and him. Especially if you're a single woman. I have never had a man be careful with me. My father, like I said, was alcoholic. Yeah, he was a protector. He never violated me. He never did any of them things. But he never set me down as his little girl and said, look, this is what you don't go for. So I'm 17, going on 18, getting my first relationship with you and your brother's dad. Yeah. He was 23. He was too old for me. Somebody should have said something, but they didn't. So I went through all kind of emotional stuff with him, even though he was a great provider, took care of y'all. I didn't want for nothing, but he still wasn't careful with me because guess what? He wasn't careful with my feelings.
Yeah, and he came with some baggage already by already having kids and whatnot.
Thank you. So again, at some point, it's just like Leah and Rachel in the Bible with Jacob. And when Leah named the child Judah, that means giving God praise, praising God. At some point, we turn to God.
Right.
And so we've been all in with these Negroes who didn't do no good for us. So now we all in with God. So excuse us if we made you feel some type of way, but we had to get what we had to get to keep our mind. Like I said, I may have lost houses, I may have lost cars, I may have lost clothes, I may have lost my beautiful pictures that went on the wall from moving here and there that I love my African art, but I never lost my mind. I never lost my mind. Yeah. And so I can't afford to get depressed. So I need God. So again, when you talk about we moved and you didn't have friends, my goal was never about you having friends. My goal was for you to navigate through this life without going to jail, without being a drug addict, without having all those extra hiccups that would have been harder for you to make it out of the trenches than it would have if you have a sound mind.
Yeah, and that's why I say now, that's why I said to Hunt the other day, I said, I don't pick up the Bible and I don't read it. I don't. Like, and I'm not saying that to say anything bad. I said, but I remember as a child, I thought like a child. I remember that type of stuff. You know, I remember like, James 4:7. Submit yourselves unto God, resist the devil, and he will flee from thee. Draw nigh unto God, and he'll draw nigh unto thee. Like, I remember that stuff. Like, I've never read it, but I remember that. Like, those are the things that stick with me. You know, there's principles.
I think that's James 5:8. Let me see what James 4:7 said. I think that's
that
James 5:8. That
might have been whatever it was. I remember. I thought about getting a tattoo, but those are the things that I remember.
Here you go.
No, I did though. But when you say here you go, like,
you're right though. You're right.
It's
right.
bonkers. It's bonkers that I remember that, and I've never read that a day in my life.
That's James 4:7. Amen.
And people that know I'm not religious at all. I'm focused on spirituality and my walk with God, but I don't tend to hone into it in that way.
That's what he's saying. His word shall not return unto him void.
Yeah.
And 5:8 says, "You too be patient and stand firm, because the Lord's coming is near." I guess that's what he want me to know.
Right.
I guess that's what he want me to know.
It's crazy because, like, reading that story from Auntie, I did realize now I've already knew that I'm a lot like you, but like reading stuff like that, like I said, I'm telling you, I'll be at work, some people be tickled. They do. Like, that's the only way you can cope sometimes with a stressful job or just the everyday stress that we go through as individuals. I feel laughter is the best. I'm not finna spend my life being angry. I've been through too much to be angry. I've been too blessed to continue to be angry and just have all this animosity built up. Let it go. Like if that's my advice, let it go. I
Well, we're
can't
gonna
tell
go
you
there.
when to let it go.
Let's go there with the let it go, because I told somebody this yesterday. A lot of times, and because we grew up with old wives' tales and different things like that, we always throwing out this stuff that's cliche. And you say let it go. Some things need to come with an explanation.
Mm-hmm.
Because we throw let it go out there like that's just, let it go. Let it go like letting go of a rope. That's not the same as when something internally
Mm-hmm.
you let it go, and you have to give instructions on, well, how did you let it go? To me, I say day by day. Me, I keep talking to God about it till I can't talk to him about it no more. Until if he tell me to shut up, or then he give me instructions, if I sit long enough to listen to what he say. But letting it go is first acknowledging that there's a problem, that this hurt me. I didn't like the way you treated me. And that's what I'm trying to teach your sister on the onset. Getting to know people. It's hard. I used to think getting to know people was easy. I used to think trust was easy because I just, like I said, just free flow through life, and and then when you do something, I'm like, okay, yeah, I caught that. Now I know I can't trust you.
Right.
But initial, I don't sit up and talk to people and say, oh, you lying. But there ought to be a level of where we need to have a little resistance before we just walk in.
I
You
think
ought to be able.
I think not even I think my perspective on that is this. I remember, like, DMX was the one that said it. I don't have the energy to not trust you. Okay.
Yeah, me either.
What I do, what I have learned is to trust people for who they are. So if I know you a thief, I'm gonna trust that you're gonna steal from me. I'm not gonna put myself in a position to where I get caught lacking.
Yes.
If I know that you're a liar, I'm gonna trust that you probably omitted something about what you're telling me.
Amen.
I need to do a little bit more research.
Yeah.
And that's the way I've tried to address relationships. You can get to know people. Get to know people. Get to know people for who they are, and trust that those people are gonna be who they are. And don't place expectations on people to be anything other than what they've shown you that they are.
Amen. Or who they are.
Yeah.
Or who they are. Yes.
Either way it goes. Like that it prevents a lot of unnecessary expectations or improper expectations.
Amen.
And you just try and build upon that relationship for where it is. And that's including me and you. I had to learn that. I've learned to respect you being the God-fearing, faith-holding person that you are at the level that you do. Like, it takes a lot of courage to rely on faith in the matter that you do. And I commend that about you. A lot of people can walk that walk or talk that talk, but they don't really walk that walk. And you have. There have been endless mornings where I called you and you on the prayer line, and when you get in that closet and you in your zone, you don't get distracted. I commend that about you, and that type of stuff. It motivates me to keep doing what I'm doing. Like, I went from not doing any content to where I'm doing a video every other day, or I'm doing multiple videos a week. This is different for me.
Man.
This is very, very different. It's out the norm, it's out the ordinary, but I applied that faith. Mm-hmm. That man brought that word, and that was all I heard from the conversation. He said a lot, but when he talked about applying your faith, that resonated with me so well. That was what I was supposed to get. And that's why I say, like, I have this mindset to where we're all a part of each other's journey in the most minute way.
We are all a solution to somebody's problem. We are all.
Yeah, that's a great way to look at it. Yeah.
To somebody's life, period. I ain't gonna say problem. Mm-hmm. We are all a solution somewhere in somebody's life.
Like I said, for me doing this, I just wanted people to know you're not the only one going through some of the stuff that you feel you going through. It's not only you. You're not alone. We are not alone. Like, I talked to a gentleman the other day. I think I mentioned this on the Lions Den where he was, we just sat down and I felt compelled to talk to him, and ended up being from Michigan, and we ended up getting on like adoption, and he talked about, he went through not having control in three different situations. Like he was ready to settle down and have a family and have a child, and it just didn't happen. And him and his wife now end up adopting like after 10 years or whatnot. So that those type of conversations that give me faith, because for a fact that resonates directly with me, especially when we're talking about abortion and or miscarriages or whatnot. That resonates with me personally, and there was trauma that came about from that, that I've had to deal with, that's actually affecting my marriage in a huge way. Like, yeah, like that was a huge part of everything that me and Kiana went through, and I had to deal with it in an effective way. So I really had to just talk about it, get it out, regain the power of the situation, so that even when I'm emotional about it, I'm still sticking to. I understand what I'm trying to say, what I'm trying to articulate, and I understand what I gain from that situation now.
Yeah.
And that's how I try to attack a lot of situations. That's where I am.
Freedom. There's freedom. I've always had freedom of freedom. I've always had freedom to say what it is, and I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful for the things that God has blessed me with. Who I'm talking about, and as far as my personality, who I am as a person. There's so much freedom in being yourself. There's so much freedom in being able to talk about things, whatever hurts you. Like I said, I don't have time to be depressed,
yeah,
or to hold things in, because I may not come back from depression. I can't afford to let the enemy get in my head so hard that fear will grip me and my mind may never come back. And so I pray that there are a lot of more black young men, or black men period, that need freedom in the areas with their mothers. I pray for more mothers to be transparent with their children. I know a lot of things hurt. I thank God that you're not on here talking about, oh, I had multiple men or something like that. But hey, right. If it was the case,
it ain't never been that way. Just to elaborate, that's not what she's saying. She ain't saying that she has, and I just didn't say it. That's never been something that's
right.
resonated
but
with.
I'm just saying,
you have to elaborate on that type of stuff.
Right,
though.
amen. But there are some things that people will be afraid of their children to say to them. And you have, and those are the things that I'm saying. I'm praying that even no matter what it is, that and everybody, like they said, air their dirty laundry, don't want to be on camera, even if it's not about camera, that they will be able to sit with their mother. It's like Hunt told the guy yesterday, go to your mama, get your mama issues fixed while she is alive.
Absolutely.
Because you can't get those issues fixed once your mother is dead.
Yeah.
He said he go to the grave, he not getting no answers from the grave. And I know that all too well about me. My mother died.
That's what we talked about. That's my bro. That's what we talked about. I said, bro.
Right.
We ain't gonna get the answer that you want, because it's one-sided.
But we have to sit in it as parents. Parenting doesn't come with a handbook. And so, as mothers, especially being single mothers, having to take care of children by yourself, not having an input, or even if you did have an input, some men can be mean as hell and not be a good support to the woman, and taking the kids through all kind of mess, and then now the kids grow up and they mad, even when it's their own father. Everything is blamed on mama. The guy can leave, they don't say nothing to him. But everything is on mama. Why did you do this? But we have to be okay with sitting in it. If it's going to help you be free, if it's going to help our children get some freedom. Because I'm hearing a lot of mothers, and they did some things, and even though they may be sorrowful, the kids just treat them so bad, so disrespectful. I'm glad that's not our story. You know what I'm saying? So, and I'm not giving myself no credit and no clout, because I was a little hard on you, a lot hard. I was really hard on you because you was the oldest, and so I slacked on the other two because I had raised you to the point you was like my support. You know what I'm saying? So I was hard on you. The other two, I didn't have time to really train them. But I also learned as you got older, you told me some things, I was not that hard on them. But even in Miles' illness, he'll tell you that I'm hard on him sometimes. Sometimes the way I talk to him is not so nice because
Yeah,
can.
but look,
You know?
Miles be funny though. Like I keep it a buck. Miles been in a situation. Miles is an aggravator, and I know he
Yes,
do
he is.
stuff to keep you on your toes.
Yeah, he do.
Like
I
he
think he
really,
like to hear me
he,
cuss. He's not
yeah.
satisfied until I
Like
go
he
off
he
off
do
the
push.
handle.
He does. He like he's a habitual line crosser. I remember Charlie Murphy
Yeah.
saying that. Like that's Miles at an
Yes, he is a
even
visual
being
line
bedridden,
crosser.
he is a habitual line crosser.
Line crosser. Yes, he is.
And some days it'd be funny, and other days he'd be like, "Dog, I can't even rock with you on this one, bro."
Like having the ambulance bring him straight home as soon as I come from Atlanta. He out here in the parking lot. I ain't get to put my bag in, bag up. I'm cussing him out.
He
You know, it's like, come
RSVP
on,
his
really?
spot, like
Really?
like he got a limo on call.
Right. So he is a habitual line crosser. But I love him to death, and
Yeah.
you know, he reminds me of my grandmother when my mother took care of my grandmother when she was ill, and she got a kick out of she didn't stop until she got a rise out of me. She
Wow.
would just nitpick until my voice.
But you know what? That's how I felt. You operated for a long time. I used to be like, why you just go on and on, like, bruh. I was telling Hunt the other day, I was like, bro, there used to be a time when my mama would wake up at like 5 and 6 o'clock in the morning, knowing we ain't gotta be to school till like 8:30, and banging Yolanda Adams and singing along with it, going hard.
I need to get my life right. I need to get my day started. What about you?
Nah, some of your stuff was petty though. Like I remember one of the times I was really, really upset with you was when me and Kiana was in between moving to our apartment, and you was on the board at church, and you was like, "No, y'all can't sleep in the same room if y'all finna be here." That really made me mad. I was so angry with you.
You wasn't married, so why? You lucky I let you stay.
But so okay, so taking that now, right?
Okay.
So this where you about to get, and it's crazy. We almost at the hour, so this might have to be another segment. But you didn't even give me the benefit of the doubt to even prove you wrong or show you different.
That you was gonna marry her?
No, we were engaged when we did it. We just weren't married yet. And then you pushed it and was like, if y'all gonna be here, y'all gotta go down to the courthouse. Y'all gonna have to do something. And I'm like, she doing too much. I'm like, she doing too much now, baby. Let's go ahead. We figure something out.
But my thing is, I hate for people to even put me in a position. But it's one thing for me to cross my own lines with God. See, I'm like this. It's one thing for me to take my own licks about my own self. But when I gotta take licks for somebody else, I'm not willing to sacrifice
Bruh,
that.
it was like 2 weeks tops.
I don't care if it was 2 days. I'm not gonna be the only person in that. It's gonna be other parents that's gonna be on here saying the same thing.
I understand that, but through growth.
It's one thing for me to take licks about my own sin.
But I was grown. How can you be responsible for my sin and I'm grown?
It don't matter. You was living in my house.
But I wasn't living in your house. I was staying at your place until my apartment was ready. It was like 2 weeks.
Okay, let's go to the fourth commandment. What he said about the Sabbath, or your everybody in the household, even the stranger within thy gates is supposed to keep the Sabbath. So you think that even the stranger within your gates, you gonna let somebody come in the gates and then shacking your stuff? Come on.
But we weren't shacking like I was about to be there staying with you. It was like, hey, my apartment ain't gonna be ready for a couple weeks.
Correct.
Can we stay here?
Are we gonna put this one up?
No. Look. Let's go deeper in the conversation. This is how petty my mama was. It wasn't even so much as that. No, it wasn't even so. No. This is what I consider the petty part. Either be in my house after 10 o'clock because my doors be locked. That was the petty part.
Who said that?
You. You can ask Kiana when you get a chance. She ain't even gonna see this first. Call Kiana. Ask Kiana. You was like, at the 10 o'clock, my screen door is locked, so don't come knocking.
Right. How old was you when you got married?
21.
You was 21, right? So then you had to be about what, 20?
Right.
19?
I was 20.
Thank you. My doors is locked at 10, 11, whatever they
But
is.
my job didn't. I worked on Meyer on 13 Mile and Gratiot. I wasn't getting off until.
I ain't give you no key.
You locked the screen door.
I can't
me off.
You have to tell me that one. I must have really been saved then, because I don't remember.
Oh, you was going hard. You was on the board and everything, and I was like, you know what?
I probably, and that made, you know what, for real though. After being on the board at the church, never again.
Absolutely.
Now, that for real. I'm gonna be honest about that, for real. That experience, I never want to be on a board where you get to bring people before somebody and talk about. I don't. That's just like being on. I don't even do jury duty. Anything that got to have my opinion on where somebody's supposed to be, I never again. That was like, and I hate to say that about the church. That was the worst experience for me. First of all, I was not equipped for it. You know.
Yeah.
So sometimes they just nominate people to do things when it's deeper than that. You know.
Yeah.
You really have to be living a certain kind of way and living a certain kind of life. But one thing I can say is I have mad respect for a lot of people like Doris Gothard. I don't care what nobody say. I went to Doris Gothard about something that was personal and private, and I ended up stepping down out of my position on my own. But I thank God for the grace. She didn't come at me with no words. She really came at me with empathy. And I'll be forever thankful to Doris Gothard. For real. Forever thankful. But to serve on the board, never again. And again, and I don't want to be going around what you said about the man who said his mom was mad religious. You can get in this thing and be in a whirlwind because it's the spirit warring against the flesh. And that's like some of the worst stuff. It's like you have to be settled in the truth. You have to know what you believe and be settled on it and work from there. It's just like the goal, the expectation, the outcome. Because when you still trying to live in the world, or not so much as living in the world, with me, I'm going to give my own personal testimony. Coming into the church and then you find yourself lonely. You come into church, you think these people perfect. They really not. Yeah. They really got issues just like you do. And they want to dress it up. And so I never could find the right people to be around in the church, to be supportive, really. I mean, truly, genuinely transparent supportive until I got with my APOC family in Lansing.
Yeah.
For real.
Yeah.
Before that, it was like a whirlwind.
It was such a blessing to meet E.T. though. You know what I'm saying? When I was there for Miles' birthday, it was a blessing to meet E.T. Just to see that you all were in great hands. Yeah. You know, to be thousands of miles away, that can be tough to always get back and support everything. Yeah. But I know that in everything that you do, you found that church family that you really resonate with. And I appreciate them, you know.
God bless me with that.
Absolutely.
God bless me with that. And like I said, and that's what I'm trying to tell people, things don't happen to you. They happen for you. Because something happened at Burns. And it had nothing to do with the Burns members. It had to do my own stuff with somebody.
Yeah.
It didn't happen to me. It happened for me. And that was so that I could get to Lansing and be at Lansing and find the exact thing I had been praying for. And that was true Christian fellowship. And I'm not going to even say the true Christian fellowship. It's the love that APOC that got me.
Yeah.
Genuine love for saints of God, for one another, for people. I'm not going to even say because they don't just love the people in the church. They just have genuine love for people.
Yeah.
And that was what I was looking for. Yeah. Genuine people. Like my sister that wrote that. My heart just really like stinging like, damn. She knows things about me or feel a way about me that I haven't even taken time to even love about myself.
But that's the beauty of this though.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. Like, people getting caught up on how long the videos are. If you're gonna watch it, watch it. But it's power in this.
Yeah.
It's power in this. You know what I'm saying? Like, we need to know. Like, we share so much negative energy about people. We share so much negativity amongst one another. Like, this is powerful. And we're not even talking about all the demons and all the stuff that me and you've been through. But it's a real conversation. We two dope people. And I never knew. Like I said, I knew that I was like you a lot, but I never knew how much of myself resides in you.
Yeah, for real.
It's crazy. It's crazy how DNA works. DNA works in the sense to, yes, a person looks like you. Yeah. You know, a person looks like their parents.
Yes.
But it breaks down sometimes to where even mentally, You
Yes.
think you're like that person.
Yes.
That's mind blowing to me.
Yeah. Like my mother used to say, I was so much like my daddy, and so to a point, sometimes I couldn't stand my daddy because we didn't have a relationship. But I loved him and I respected him. I did. I can say he always had my back. I can't say my dad. Now, one thing I can say about my daddy, what I did love about him, it didn't matter if I got in trouble. Let somebody bother one of us. He ain't about to say, you out there starting, you did. He ain't about to ask no question. He never asked us. He never fussed at us about getting in trouble. He just showed up. And you best believe he gonna clear the scene like some bowling pins. Like the pins and knock all them boys down. My daddy gonna clear the scene.
Yo, let me say this real quick. So this was talk about like memory, and I think that I have a great memory, but with being with my siblings and whatnot, when we did the Zoom call, I remember this knot that's on my head. I remember where it happened, and I got a different part of the story. So I remember my dad getting all of us and taking us to the Northland Skating Rink on 8 Mile and Lasser. I remember the fight breaking out. I remember being caught in the stampede. I don't remember seeing my father come for me. I was the only one of his children and everybody that was there that was caught in the mosh, and they just talked about how my dad was like taking kids and throwing them off. You know what I'm saying? Trying to get to me. You don't know that because you wasn't there, but I don't remember.
I remember that story because that's not how you got the knot on your head.
Yes, it is. The knot that you're referring to was on this side of my head when I fell down the stairs.
No, when you fell out the bed as a baby. Oh, you kept hitting that boy then.
Yeah. This one right here, I remember never putting ice on it, and it just never went away.
Right, I think that's when you was a baby, when you fell out the bed.
Well, all right. Well, at the same time, I got punched in the head. I remember getting punched in the head when we were at the Northland Ring, but that kind of changed my perspective of him. You know what I'm saying? Like, and the way I thought of him, like, I have a lot of demons that I still have to deal with, and me and him will get to.
You said he didn't come for you?
No, I said he did. In that moment, he did come for me. So, you know, like, growing up, I was always upset because it'd be like, hey, you got me on the couch waiting for you to come and you don't show up. You stop answering the phone. Like, we hold on to that.
Yeah.
But then when you get with others, you know, even Miles shares some stories, and I'll be like, I don't remember that. But the fact that he has those stories, it makes me look at him and, again, accept him for who he is. Yeah. With me personally, I've never really, like... First of all, I'm totally okay, and I've always been okay with me and you stepping back to avoid a conversation or a situation getting deeper than it needed to be, knowing that what we were feeling at the time was temporary and it really didn't mean nothing. But with him, I've always, like, yearned to have these, like, real conversations with him, but I had to come to a point where I'm like, he ain't that type of person.
He's not that type of person. I was just telling him on the prayer line yesterday, I was like, wow, to think for my first 13 years of my adult life I spent with a man I know nothing about.
Yeah.
I know who his people is, but to really just have a deep conversation with him, but I don't know why. For me to be a person as free as I am, I never attract them kind of men. I always attract the men that don't give me no information about themselves. They never put themselves on display. They never tell the truth about who they really are.
Yeah.
You know, and all of they always say I'm intimidating. And I don't know. I say, and then I learned that it's not that I'm intimidating, it's that you're intimidated. But it's not on me. Like, I'm not intimidating you. No. You probably don't like the fact that I am free to do that. I'm free to tell you who I am. Yeah. One thing somebody can never say, I'm a liar. I never lie. I am not a liar. Who I am is who I am, and I never lie about it.
Yeah. I had to get to that point.
What you get?
I had to get to that point to where you truly just feel comfortable being you. And that's why I use the term unapologetically me. I'm not going to apologize for being the strong man that I am.
No.
I'm not going to apologize for being the person that's not going to allow you to just think you're going to be able to say and do what you want.
Yep.
I don't feel bad about that. I've been put in a few difficult situations because of my unwillingness to let you just do or say whatever.
Right.
But I'm still glad that I'm that person. Like, I would hate that if I was anything other than me at this point in my life. I can truly say that, and I appreciate that because I got that from you firsthand. So a lot of times, like when me and you have conversations, I think sometimes I feel sometimes you get emotional still because you still worry about I could have did this different, I could have did this one different. And I just want you to know, like, I don't have those thoughts, not anymore. I tell you on the biggest. I'll tell you what my biggest my.
I told you I didn't even care if you did because how you turned out.
But
I was
contrary to what you're
the man
saying,
you
Ma,
turned
you
out to
did.
be.
Contrary to what you're saying, you did, and I'm gonna tell you why. Um, I remember a time where me and you didn't talk for hell what seemed like almost 6 months, and I remember I was being stubborn. I wasn't gonna call you, and I knew you was feeling the same. And this was some years back. But I remember like you just calling me out the blue, and that was how you began the conversation. I know I may not have done things the way that you wanted me to, meaning myself, but you went on to explain that you were doing your best, and you, like, and for me, those were the moments that truly mattered to me because you talked about growth, um, and growth on a little level, but that's huge. I was gonna tell you when you shared that at the beginning, and you said that growth wasn't 100%. You have to think of it this way: any growth is 100% if you're better than what you were or where you were before.
Praise God. Praise God. I never looked at it like that, but again, I'm gonna always be the type of person. See, one thing about me, you got to remember, I'm big on accountability because
Absolutely.
I told you when I was young, I was raped, and I felt like that person got no time.
Yeah.
So me, I'm gonna always show up and be accountable for things that I do. So even though I say, I apologize for that because if it hurt you, I apologize, and not to the point to where it made me feel like, oh, I'm down in dumps. No. When I say I don't care, and I want to stop using that because I'm telling Janiyah to let's stop saying we don't care, right? Because we don't want to say we don't care. We got to use another term because people think you really don't care. It's like, I don't feel no type of way because you turned out to be, you exceed my expectations as a man.
Yeah.
You are more at 31 of a man than I've seen some 60-year-old men be, for real.
And I've learned to harness that, but I'll tell you, like, one of my biggest moments of success in my life that really made me just let everything that me and you've been through go, like, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart. It's gonna blow your mind. It was a time where I was able to come to you as I am. Amen. I can come to you as I am now.
Yeah.
And I don't have to worry about you feeling any type of way about my ear piercings, about my tattoos, the fact that I smoke when I do, when I drink when I do, the fact that I'm me. Because the moments that we share are continuously priceless.
Amen.
If you have one funny person in the room, it's one thing. You have multiple people in the room talking funny stuff, and we talking about the past, we ain't letting that own us. There is power in that.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that about you. That and in those moments, like, none of that other stuff mattered because me and you are who we are, baby. So
but let me tell you what I appreciate about you, though, too. See, that works two ways.
Yeah.
Because one thing I can say about my children, my three, and I always tell your sister this: if you 35 and you come around me and you wearing something inappropriate, I'm gonna say something to you.
For sure. Yeah.
But because I have that level of respect from you, that even though you're 31, grown, and you live with your wife, if I say something to you, you're not gonna say you can't tell me nothing. I'm grown. You may not like what I say.
Yeah.
You may feel some type of way about it. But one thing I can say is my word gonna hold bond in your life just like your word hold bond in my life.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's a two-way street.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I never thought of that.
What me and my children go through, we still have a parent-child relationship. I know people probably think, oh, me and Janiyah, she my best friend. And even though I say something, I like that little song, she don't like it by Saweetie. She's my best friend. She got her own car. I just always been, she not my best friend.
Nah, Janiyah, look, contrary to what people believe, Janiyah get cut up on. It's been, and she, she probably, I don't know, I want to say, she not the most humble. Miles is still the most humble of the three of us.
Yeah, he is.
Miles is forever like, he's probably the most humble person that I've ever met.
He is a line crosser, though. But what I don't get mad at him about is, the one thing I love about him, he stands his ground.
Yeah, it be tough sometimes.
In his state that he in.
Yeah.
In his broken
and it's been a couple situations where me and him had to step back from each other.
You gotta be in a room when he talked to a doctor.
Yeah.
And the doctor giving him all these scenarios, and he just stands his ground. And it takes a lot to stand your ground.
Yeah.
Because I taught him that. I don't care if you standing by yourself. You stand on what you believe, even if you standing by yourself. You might have to stand alone. And he holds true to that. And I love that about him. But that's the way, I wouldn't have it no other way when you a man. To be a man. I know I hold weight in your life, but I wouldn't dare disrespect your wife.
Yeah.
I wouldn't dare try to hold weight in your life over your wife.
And let me say this for all of the people out there, because I know we've been on here for a minute. I know we're going to get towards wrapping up. This was the one thing, and I think I've said this to you before. If you married, if you're in a relationship with a significant other, if you family, if you're a friend, you have to be careful when you talking. The things that you are saying to people about your relationship or conversation with another person, because you don't pay attention to this, but that opinion naturally rubs off on the other person. And when you make up with that person, you ain't tell that other person that you made up with that person. So all that person has in their mind is a thought of you as an individual when they only hear my side of the story. Yeah. And we have to be so careful of that, because there have been so many misconceptions about individuals spread through misinformation, all because you only get one perspective, you only get one opinion of what happened, and you're only getting to hear what one person feels. We have to stop doing that. And I did that for a while in my relationship with Kiana. So when you always talked about, oh, you felt like y'all didn't have a relationship, I played a huge part in that, and I had to rectify that.
But I knew that.
I did, but and I didn't understand that. I truly did, because like all you as the individual spreading the information, and we have to realize how much of an influence we are. Yeah. Like sometimes we don't realize how influential we are, and that's how we fall into that a lot easier. Yeah. You know, so I apologize for that, because I know that I played such a big part in that, and we've had to have conversations and come about rectifying that. And I think when we were home the last time, that was a huge part of healing. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, as far as overall, like all of us being there together.
I never tripped on Kiana, because I know you. Yeah. I know my child. You know what I'm saying? So I would be mad at her to some extent if she didn't ride with you. But it's the right way to ride. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, it's still the right way to ride. I ain't gonna never get mad at you for being on the team with your wife and your husband. But it's still the right way. And so that's why I always try to be in her life where she know for herself I'm not a threat to your marriage. Yeah. That's my only thing to get through. I'm not a threat to your marriage, because I want you to be together. Absolutely. I want you to have a successful marriage.
I appreciate that.
I want that for you.
I do. I sincerely appreciate that, and I always have. And I just appreciate you as a whole. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't tell you enough that seeing you and your strong moments and your moments of adversity, and how you just continue to go. You know, when you lost the house in Southfield, and when you had to move out the apartment, not because you got put out, but you needed a bigger space, and you were trying to figure that out. And then you had the other house, and you figured out that messy stuff. Like, you're a hero. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're so strong. Wow. Like, we really look to you for so much. And I wanted to do this to make sure that you know that you are loved and we appreciate you.
I love y'all. I appreciate y'all too.
You know, and even outside of us, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was so eager to do this that I didn't wait for a lot of people to give me or share stuff that they may have wanted to, but I just wanted to share the stuff that I did have.
Amen.
You know what I'm saying?
I don't feel so bad that I wasn't ready, and I had to put the scarf on, but then I was like, forget it. Let me just go on.
I'm gonna tell you straight up, you can never truly be ready. It's like being a parent. There's no amount of money, there's no amount of reading, there's no amount of training that can truly prepare you to be a parent. And that's how I felt. Yeah. Every day I step in front of this camera, there's no preparedness to come about it. Like, it just has to come from the heart. it has to truly be heartfelt. There may be people out there that can practice the Kev on stages and whatnot. I love that content. That truly motivates me. But what I'm doing right now in this moment, I'm speaking everything from the heart. And not everybody gonna be able to resonate with that. So I thank you. I thank you for making the time.
And that's why I didn't want to be scripted. Like I said, I knew I had to go to the hospital. I'm like, let me go ahead on and just get it done, because that's what I'm about. I told you I'm about taking care of business. I never worried about beauty and certain things coming before taking care of my business. You know what I'm saying? If nothing else, I'm gonna take care of what I gotta take care of to make sure we got a roof over our head, food on the table, clothes on our back, shoes on our feet, I just had to always take care of business, son. So I never, and I'm not gonna say I feel bold to say it because there's no greater start. Because Pastor said on the sermon, he said sometimes your aha moment is 50 years old. Sometimes your aha moment is 20 years old. Yep. Sometimes your go. So I'm gonna use this as my go time.
Absolutely.
This is my go time. So every day I'm gonna make a choice. Like one of the ladies from California, she sent me a text this morning. She said, make sure you do something nice for yourself this week.
Absolutely.
And I've been home by myself all day. I said, I love when my house is clean. So I'm doing something nice for myself. Janai not here, so there's no reason for the house not to be
toe up. It's only you at this point.
Bathroom back up. Everything, and I've been smiling all morning. I've been going to bed early by myself, and I mean, it feels good. And I thank God for, I'm going to say this, Rod, and this is what I tell people all the time. You can invest in a lot of things. Some people invest in accounts and different stuff like that. You always want a return on your investment. And I always wanted a partner. So I always thought that a partner would be better. You as a man, the Bible says a man should not be alone. And I never got a partner. I always invested in men, and I never got back a return on my investment. I ain't gonna say that about your daddy, because still to this day, if I called your daddy today and I was stranded in California, he gonna get that again.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah,
for sure. I know that beyond a shadow of a doubt. But I'm talking about in different things. So I always tell people this: you get back from your kids what you put into it.
Yeah.
So when you look out for your kids, they're gonna look out for you. I don't care what nobody say. They call me a lie if they want to. That's not a lie.
Right.
My mother was dead. I wish my mother was alive to pay her light bill. I wish my mother was alive to treat her to dinner. I have to treat other women and other mothers, be some kind of support to somebody else, to give them flowers and let
I was gonna say that's what I challenge you to do. I challenge you to take this newfound perspective regarding understanding and having difficult conversations and help somebody else out. That's always my challenge for myself. I challenge myself to keep having these in-depth conversations, attacking them head on, like, what I'm saying, like, and letting somebody else know you ain't doing all that bad, my baby. Let's build upon it.
We have to be willing, and we have to be open.
Absolutely.
And as mothers or as fathers,
as people in general.
Like to be challenged by our children, but it's freedom in it if they be able to sit in it.
Absolutely.
The goal. What is the goal? If the goal is for us to have a better relationship, then you got to go through the pain of it. It's gonna be some hurtful stuff. That's sad, but we got to be willing to go through it because what's your goal? If you want to get to the goal and the foundation for a better relationship, because that's always been my goal, that me and my children have good relationships.
Yeah.
I thank God. People say, how did you and Janai become so close? Oh, I prayed about that. I see women swing on their door to hit them in the chest and hit them with shoes upside down. And I didn't.
We all know firsthand how toxic some relationships can be.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I didn't want that with my daughter. I wanted to treat her carefully, and I wanted her to know that you are loved and that you can be treated like a queen. And even if some man, your daddy or whoever, I'm gonna show you how you're supposed to be treated. I tell her all the time, you're a lady at all times. Didn't nobody tell me that. They let me be wild, do the most, say whatever, talk reckless. But that wasn't going to be the product that I birthed out. In the name of Jesus, it wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
So I'm thankful for this time. I'm not even looking at it like, dang, he didn't have me on here all the time. I feel blessed. If we don't get number
me too. Yeah. Like endorphins.
That we got to have this time together. And
Absolutely.
I'm just, my soul is blessed right now. I am really elated right now.
Yeah, when you talk about emotions, the endorphins that I've gotten from having this conversation has just been phenomenal. My day is off to a great start. After this, I'm gonna go get ready for work
Amen.
and just try and be a blessing to somebody else. I'm gonna let this
Amen.
content upload today, and
Yes.
I just want you to know that I thank you. I thank you for your time because I value time more than anything. So I appreciate you making the time to do this in the midst of your day. Uh, I'm glad that we didn't do it last night. You know what I'm saying? I feel like last night I was home from work. I had uh, I had just got home. I had like literally just walked in the door when I called you, and I thought about it. I'm like, well, she 3 hours ahead. She might actually be in the bed. You know what I'm saying? So I'm glad that you got your rest. I'm glad that you didn't feel rushed to do this. I'm glad that even now, the naysayers, the doubters throughout the years, this a ultimate flex. All the people that counted us out, all the people that knew our history and only knew of the chaos that me and you had been through, like the people that forever counted me out as the underdog. You know what I'm saying? Like, look at me now. And again, it's not the flex, but what God had for me, I still got here.
I told Mama Thomas, E.T.'s mama, because she had a baby when she was 17 and she was going to her class reunion and she was feeling some type of way. I said, please, let me get you a shirt that say how you like me now. You know what I'm saying? So I never was the type that cared about that because I'm like, Miles, I just felt like even though I may have went about things the wrong way, you was my child. And I raised my own child. Ain't nobody gonna give me no input about my child. I knew I wasn't no drug addict. I knew I wasn't beating you. You might have got some beatings when you did something or whatever. It may have been a little overboard or something, but I knew that I was raising you to be a man. Absolutely. Somebody's husband and somebody's father. Yeah. I was not raising any old hoodlum that I could have just threw you away and said, whatever. I know a lot of kids, they become disrespectful and the woman just get tired of raising them and just be like, whatever, let them start doing whatever you want to do. A curfew is so you don't get put out your house with your wife.
For sure.
That's
Absolutely.
what a curfew is for.
Yeah, I know that firsthand.
Even being grown, you need a curfew.
Absolutely.
There's still a certain time.
There's a level of respect, and that's really what it comes down. It's not about control. There's a level of respect that you have for the other individual. Absolutely. I understand that. I truly do. Like I said, I appreciate the life lessons that God instilled in you to instill in me. I appreciate your eternal knowledge regarding spirituality and your walk with God. I respect it. I respect your grind. What you do for my brother, what you do for my sister, what you do for others. And I love you. I love you not only as my mother, but if you weren't my mother, I love you as an individual. And I just wanted you to know that. So
you better know some Yolanda Adams songs, because you know
Hey, no, who was it? It was it's Yolanda Adams, it's BB and CeCe Winans.
Oh yeah.
Who was it that Greg put us up on? The Williams brothers.
What? Oh yeah, the spiritual QCs.
Yes.
No, Greg put me up on a lot of them. He put me up on Shirley Caesar.
Shirley Caesar, yep.
And Walter Hawkins. I love me some
Walter Hawkins. Like, so you know that, not to mention the Hezekiah Walkers. Kirk Franklin had some bangers. It was a couple months ago. I was banging Kirk Franklin in the car. I got the 212s back there, and it's all line of stuff. Kirk Franklin got some hitters, but man, I forgot about Fred. Big Fred.
Fred Hammond is cold too.
Yeah.
Fred Hammond is cold in the fair. I'm about to get in. I got 45-minute ride to the hospital. I'm about to blast one of them boys right now.
But let's do this before you go. We almost had an hour and a half for the third and final segment. This probably like a 2.5 hour interview, so I'm gonna break it up. The third one gonna be the longest one, but sometimes that's how these interviews go. This is a podcast. You know what I'm saying? Like, and as you get to listen to it, you listen to it. That's why I wanted to do YouTube. You ain't got to keep starting over. You can pick up where you left off at, and at the end of the day, like, you just
I pray some other mothers and sons find freedom.
Yes.
That's what I do. I pray some other mothers and sons. They probably think our story ain't so bad, and I don't think everything has to be so bad. It's just
Right.
about, if they look at it as just getting freedom wherever you are,
Absolutely.
whatever it is, just to get to the goal of us having more. What we talking about families? What do Pastor call them? Not so much as phenomenal but healthy relationships.
Absolutely.
If we can get to the goal of just having more healthy black relationships, more healthy black family relationships.
I tell people, stop focusing on the scenario and focus on the principle.
Yes, amen.
And that's the deep part of it. Stop worrying about the scenario and focus on the principle behind it, because that's really where the growth is.
Amen.
You're growing on your principles. You're adding different principles and morals and values to your everyday walk. Yeah. As an individual, and then you incorporate spirituality, for those that are spiritual. But it's just all about feeling okay coming as who you are. Coming as who you are in this moment and building upon that. And like I said, for me, like, as this goes on, I'm going to have some homosexual people on here. I'm going to have some people on here that may have been criminals in the past. I just want everybody to feel, because I feel like coming up,
get their freedom.
Absolutely. We don't talk enough about emotion. We don't talk as much about trauma and how it affects us. But when we do, there's a level of healing that comes about it. There's a level of freedom, spiritual, internal freedom that comes about it. You can't take a hold of my story if I'm telling the story.
Amen.
That's what this platform is.
Amen. So I want to say what the lady said on the prayer line. She said, we're not going to say a person committed suicide, they died by suicide.
Yes.
So when I said somebody committed a crime, or somebody that, spent time and may have spent time in prison, get freedom about their story or whatever. It's like when you hear people that went to jail over a crime and then they end up doing 10 years when it was only like a year crime because they got bamboozled and sucked in. Everybody that's in prison are not bad. Or they just got caught up.
There was just a young man. There was just an older gentleman the other day, 26 years wrongfully convicted.
Yeah.
He just got out. Right. That's my life.
Yeah.
That means that person would have got locked up in 1995.
Yeah.
I was having pool parties at the crib 1995. So I couldn't imagine what trauma to know you're innocent and to be wrongfully convicted. The Central Park 5. All of these different stories throughout history where people were wrongfully convicted. Yeah. Man, that's gonna have to be a segment that we schedule for another day. Like I said, I know you got a lot to do.
Us as black people, we never take the time to learn our history. We'll hear a story and you'll go with whatever somebody say. That's even with the church. You'll let the preacher preach all them years and you never pick the Bible up for yourself to really see what God is saying. Period. You believe what somebody else say instead of
following a man instead of following the Creator.
Yeah. That's
always been my issue with church.
Yeah.
That has, like, again, it's gonna have to be a segment. I might have to holler at Hunt for this one, but it's not that I've been a rebel to where I just didn't believe in God, but I've never ever believed in following man. Why is that?
Yeah.
Man has always let me down. Literally, the male species throughout my life has forever let me down. Doesn't matter who it was. So for me, it made it a lot easier for me to have that walk with him, the Creator, and my way. And I didn't want to fall subject to the ways of man.
To take up for some of the males, because I know I tried to get you some males in the church. I'm not going to get mad, because you have to, one thing about being a man, there is a higher standard for a man. A man is easier to fall, even though Eve fell and then Adam fell in with it according to Eve.
Naturally.
Think about this, the temptation part. So when a man is trying to help a single woman, it's a lot. Not that I was that woman. I was never that woman that wasn't to be trusted or nothing like that, but I understood that things happen.
No, and I understand at the end of the day, the men that were trying to mentor me had other lives and other responsibilities. I understand that now as an adult. I do. Yes. But it doesn't change the fact that when I'm telling this story, I'm telling it like it is and how it was. That's why I've always been the way that I am, where it was a lot easier for me to have female friends.
Yeah.
And I've trusted in females because I was raised by a single mother.
Which can get you in trouble, though. Which can get you in trouble, too. Men have to be strong enough to be men of their word. And that's
absolutely.
The bottom line. Standing on their word and being a video when I went to one of his little banquets. He said he was always looking for a mentor in the church. He would search high and low. He said, so he became the man that he was looking for.
Absolutely. So which is the same way I look at fatherhood. I vow to be the father that I wanted my father to be. Not necessarily that my father wasn't, because I'm not placing that expectation on him. I know that he dealt with and he did with what he could. My thing is, I have to be the difference maker. So whenever I'm placed in a position to where I'm mentoring somebody as the big bro, like when Robert was with me, you know what I'm saying? He'd tell you, I assumed that role and I gave him game. I gave him the necessary game. I don't care that Robert left. Robert doing his own. Robert just had a kid. I don't even know if you know that, but Robert has a son now. He may be like a month old now, and I tell Robert all the time, like, dog, I'm proud of you. I was there. I had to be there in the moment to identify and say certain things to you that really stuck with you. And for me, that makes me successful because I'm making that difference in somebody else's life. I know his path. You know what I'm saying? Like, so the fact that me and little bro, we resonated that way, I tried to do the same thing with Miles. That wasn't in Miles' cards. You know what I'm saying? But even with everything that he was dealt with, we built on our relationship, we built on understanding, and he's a phenomenal person even where he is in his situation. I love that about people. I truly love that. And I've been blessed to really be, to have had wisdom instilled in me. The people like Terrence, the people like Rashid. Although I'm saying that the males in my life, or I felt that the males in my life failed me at that time, everything that they did, it's in here. I'ma forever be Terrence's Pop-Tart. And that's an inside joke between me and him. You know what I'm saying? Like, I learned to accept people and appreciate people for who they are, not what they've done, and look at things in a different way. So that's it as a whole, you know. And like I said, I'm hoping to build upon that one day, and we will. But if you ever want to come back, if you ever want to do this again and we touch on something else, if you ever want to give your opinion on something, I'm all here for it. Like I said, it's this easy. It's this easy.
I enjoyed it. I'm glad that we got to do it, son. I mean, it made my day. It really did.
This made my life. You know what I'm saying? Like I was telling my homeboy, I'm like, how many people get to actually put their mother on a platform and just allow them to tell their story, but get to tell them how they truly feel about them. Like we all don't get that privilege. You know what I'm saying? And as great as me and your relationship is now, it hasn't always been that great. And I'm thankful that I didn't have to talk to a grave in order to deal with my trauma. You know what I'm saying? I'm thankful because I see firsthand there are people that don't get that opportunity. There are some people that will never get the opportunity to do even a fraction of what me and you are doing in this moment. So I think,
it doesn't even have to be on tape, but just to sit down with your mother and father or whoever, and let them just really know how you feel. Just really let them know, you know, or give them a chance to just give their story.
Yeah.
Just give your, you know what I'm saying? Because it's not always what it's cracked up to be, or it seemed to be. I know as women, we go through a lot, especially when you do not have no support. So I've always been for the single mothers.
And at the end of the day, like for me, like you're doing me a service as well, because I'm not an interviewer. I'm not a journalist. I didn't go to school for this. I just like having conversations with dope people. I do. I love having magnificent conversations. Yesterday at work, I featured a story in my weekly newsletter that I send out at work about a guy that I work with and just how he motivates me. He took his passion for cooking and he makes some dope stuff. WildNorth.kitchen is his Instagram handle, but he makes some phenomenal work, and it's just, you know, it's a blessing to see another man operating in his talents the way that he does, and he motivates me, and he says that I do the same for him in a way. It's great because everything that I've always said, and I've always told you this, we have to stop saying what we not gonna do and what we not.
Yeah, for real.
This has never been attractive to me, but the fact that I'm doing this and I'm operating within this, I'm eager to see where God takes me.
Amen.
Not necessarily this platform, but I'm starting to see a different gift within myself, and I'm trying to operate within it. So, like I said, when I did the full disclosure video, you're gonna see moments where I'm having in-depth conversation with this, like this, You're gonna have moments where I'm going on a rant when I'm maybe, intoxicated or whatever, or medicated, whatever it is. Like, but I'm gonna be me. I'm gonna be me, and I hope that somebody watches this and they get something from it. Even if you're not watching it, even if you just turn it on and you listen to it, it's gonna be better than some of the music that you're listening to. You may get some healing from it. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't have to be the actual picture that you see when you hear the word, but if you listen to it, it may actually help you in a relationship. Not even necessarily with a mother, but just a relationship where you're not in the greatest position, or y'all aren't on the greatest terms. So, I thank you again for your time, Mother. I know you got stuff to do.
Me too. I love you too.
I love you with all of my heart, like unconditional love at its finest, and I thank you for allowing me to be myself now, and when we finally came to terms.
Amen.
And I do the same for you. Absolutely, and I hope that.
And I'm gonna say I apologize if I never let you be yourself, because I know I wouldn't have it no other way.
No, absolutely,
but
absolutely.
I'm gonna say this too. I think a lot of times too, as parents, and I'm speaking for me. A lot of things I didn't like about myself, and that maybe like when you were coming up, I said that's immature. You were a child.
Yeah.
Like, I guess from the womb, I'm looking at you as a man. You're gonna be a man, and because I couldn't stand men that were immature,
right?
And I just want, but at the same time, it wasn't good for you because you were a child, and a man has to be able to get out his childish ways when he's younger. But I just always couldn't stand immature men or boys, and so pray for your sister, because when she tell me Snoop Dogg and Rick Ross is fine, I be like, Lord have mercy.
Yeah, she got a little bit of ratchetness in her, not in the sense to where she truly is.
I just believe because she's so mature, I raised her to be mature.
She just Janiyah different, man. Like me and her gonna talk about it on her, but when I say ratchet, I don't mean like actually ratchet. Like I mean like she different. She different because I know she's sheltered, and I know she has like, but she got a streak in her.
She got a way about her that I really didn't know, but then when I started listening to her tell me stuff, like when she was some things when she was getting in trouble in Peterson in the Christian school, and then she'd be like, really, that was all me. I said, oh, so you out here.
Her and Miles. You know, like that's what I said. Hey. We gonna have to say them gems. We gonna have to say them gems and get on here. Maybe we get on here as a family one day and just talk. Cause I know him getting drunk on the bus. Yeah.
She does not disappoint me, and I'm thankful for that.
But they're my babies, and I'm glad to know that none of us disappoint you. You know, it makes living that much easier to know. That in your parents' mind, they're going, well done, my child.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so that will forever resonate with me, and we gonna keep this going. I'm so thankful though. I'm so happy about this, man. If I didn't have to go to work, we'd keep it rocking. But we gonna stay in contact, and I'm already getting text messages asking where the video at, because we supposed to do it last night. So I'm gonna get the upload this, and we gonna go from there.
All right, babe.
All right, love you.
All right, talk to you soon. All right, baby.
Thank y'all for listening. Subscribe, like, comment, and hopefully this is a blessing to somebody. Thank you.
Amen.